Hello everybody, Dathomiri48 here, and welcome back to another Star Wars video. Today is in the Legends timeline, and it is The Last Jedi. No, not the movie. It is the book by Michael Reaves and Maya Kaathryn Bohnoff. I believe it is the last story in the Jax Pavon series timeline, I guess, and it takes place between 19 BBY and 18 BBY. Which is 1 year after Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and the same year as Coruscant Knight's 3 Patterns of the Force. Got the book for $5, the cheapest one in the Jax Pavon liturgy. Part 1, Vaster Than Empires. Chapter 1. Jax, Loranth, Den, and I-5 are taking Yemen off Coruscant because Whiplash has been under heavy Imperial attack. They are going to set up a new base on Dathomiri. Loranth had helped Jax build a new lightsaber. Color not quite defined yet. It was either green or blue. I couldn't quite tell because I don't know what color means when they use weird words. But they received the crystal from an anonymous source. Yemen is not happy to be fleeing his own operation. Once the group delivers him safely to Dathomiri, they plan on returning to Coruscant to help Tuden Sal. Chapter 2. The group took a pit stop on Tabrawa, where Jax and Loranth met with Aaron Foley, an Antarian ranger. Loranth has proposed returning to Tabrawa after bringing Yemen to Dathomiri instead of Coruscant. Jax is undecided so far, but seems like he could be convinced. While in hyperspace, both Loranth and Jax could sense Vader's presence in the Force for the first time since his fall. Chapter 3. The Far Ranger, the ship Jax and the team are in, was pulled out of hyperspace by 20 Imperial ships. They know Vader is a part of them. Although Jax had attempted to escape, they were pulled into a tractor beam, and Jax called for an abandoned ship as the Empire is about to board. Loranth had not left for the escape pods. She rigged up the weapons, even without power, to send a massive shot against the boarding ship, sending shrapnel into her neck. Jax ran to her, holding her as she died. This gave enough time for Vader and the stormtroopers to enter the ship. There was a flash of light, blinding Den. Jax and Vader had ignited their lightsabers. Vader used the Force to drag Yemen out. When Den could see again, Vader, Yemen, and the stormtroopers were gone. I-5's head was battered on the floor, and Jax was stood still in a defensive position. Chapter 4. Den and Jax bring a damaged I-5 into an escape pod. Vader had used the Force during the altercation to not allow Jax to move. Chapter 5. I-5 is just ahead. Aaron has picked the escape pod up. She has brought them to their base on Tabrawa. She is bringing them to meet Deegan Core, the co-leader of the group, and is the leader for non-rangers in the base. They do have a badly damaged Jedi starfighter, but they do not know who it had belonged to. Deegan proposes that there was another mole in Whiplash who exposed their plan to Vader. Deegan and Aaron want Jax to stay with them, but he needs to find Yemen and save him, expecting Vader to have brought Yemen back to Coruscant. Chapter 6. Jax had returned to his new quarters and is in deep grief. Den has taken I-5's head to Jerry, a child who is the complex's droid expert. They are going to put I-5 on a pit droid as a temporary solution until they find better legs. Sasha Swiftbird is preparing the new ship Jax, Den, and I-5 will depart in. Jax and Den have decided to call the ship Loranth to honor her memory. I-5 wants to utilize an R2 unit. Chapter 7. I-5 has discovered that some of the Imperial ships left for the core, but others went outward after the conflict. Chapter 8. Jax, Den, and I-5 take off for Imperial Center in the Loranth, named the Corsair for official records, so it's not recognized by Vader. Chapter 9. Pol House picked up Jax, Den, and I-5 from the spaceport, saying he was taking them to Imperial security. House brought them to Tuden Sal, whose new HQ is on an old train in an abandoned train system. They were brought into a meeting with Sheel Mafine, Fars Seal-At, Dyat Agni, and Acer Ash, Whiplash captains. Jax was shocked to find out Whiplash has decided not to try to find Yemen, as they do not have the resources to give to that mission. House brought the team to their new quarters, assuring Jax that he and Sheel don't agree with the opinion, but are voted out. Chapter 10. Jax, Den, I-5, and House are going to work to find Vader and Yemen, but making it seem like they aren't for Tuden Sal. House told Jax that Vader is on Imperial Center. Chapter 11. House told Jax Tesla and other Inquisitors have been moved off-world, and Vader's ship is being prepared for departure. The immediate suspicion is that Yemen is being held on Mandalore. Jax is going to try and see Vader before he takes off from Coruscant, dressed in a police officer disguise. Chapter 12. Once in the complex, Jax changed into Inquisitor robes. Vader saw him, but Jax doesn't think he recognized him beneath the robes. Jax went to return to the ship. Den and I-5 saw an Inquisitor outside their ship and scared him off without making it known that they saw him. Jax arrived just after, still in the Inquisitor robe, saying that had not been him. Part 2, Flight and Pursuit. Chapter 13. Jax, Den, and I-5 have left Coruscant, heading for Mandalore, and are hoping to find where the fleet went after going to Mandalore. Jax wants to reach out to Sal on their way to Mandalore to update him. Chapter 14. Sal has given Jax a Black Sun contact on Mandalore, but this is the group that betrayed Sal and may potentially be still hunting him. They believe Sal to be on Tatooine, not Coruscant. House has reported to Sal that Vader and all but 5 Inquisitors are off Coruscant, and there are rumors that Palpatine is not actually in the Imperial Palace. Chapter 15. Jax is in search of Tyno Fabris, who is Prince Scissor's lieutenant, but Jax does not know the connection. Den and I-5 have gone on a search for droid parts and intelligence on the Imperial presence. Chapter 16. Jax has met Tyno, who revealed the Imperial presence left Mandalore for its moon, Concordia. Tyno is suspicious that Jax is a Force-sensitive person. Jax, Den, and I-5 reunite after their day, both finding out the Imperials went to Concordia and were preparing a trap. Jax has still not told Den and I-5 his contact is Black Sun, but Den had overheard, and he told I-5 that detail. Chapter 17. Jax was attempting to open the Sith holocron when Den and I-5 entered, confronting him about working with Black Sun. They are not happy, but glad to all be on the same page, finding Yemen, not vengeance against Vader. House has learned that Palpatine and members of the Senate are going to a seaside estate soon. He does not seem to want to tell Sal, as this would be the perfect opportunity for Sal's plan. I still really can't tell what side House is on, and it's been 3 books. He is just always suspicious. Chapter 18. Acer Ash, a smuggler, brought a data chip to Sal and is planning on getting materials in the next couple of days. Tyno has agreed to trade Vader's location for the pyronium ingot Anakin Skywalker had given to Jax. Scissor was listening to the ordeal and knows it was Jax, but wants to carry on with the deal. Chapter 19. The data chip allowed Sal to realize Palpatine is at his villa, not the Imperial Palace, and is unsure why House would not have told him this information already. Den and I-5 are making progress building a new droid body that more resembles the original I-5 body. Jax meets with Tyno again. This time, Scissor reveals himself, still wanting to deal with Jax, but wanting a favor in return instead of the pyronium. Jax refuses and returns to the ship, immediately rethinking that plan and leaving the ship again. Den and I-5 are worried about Jax. Den is going to make sure the ship is ready for takeoff, while I-5 goes out in disguise for some recon. Chapter 20. Sal has kicked House out of Whiplash, not believing House's claim that he withheld the information to keep Whiplash alive, as he predicts an assassination attempt, whether or not it is successful, will result in the complete destruction of the Whiplash organization. After House left, he reflected that Sal really should have killed him, rather than let him go. Is House bad? I'm still confused. Chapter 21. Jax returned to Scissor, finding out that Vader is on the Kantaro station in the Bothan region. The station is being used to house high-level prisoners of war. House met with Sheil Mafine, who told House where Sal's next meeting will be. He wants her to keep an ear out on Sal's intentions with the Emperor. The remaining leaders of Whiplash have met. Sal told them that House betrayed them and is no longer involved, then told them of his plan to assassinate Palpatine. I-5 asked Jax if he wanted to die, because his actions certainly made it seem that way lately. Jax said no, but did make him consider things before proceeding. The Loranth is headed for the Kantaros station. Chapter 22. Jax dreamed of Loranth as they arrived in the Bothan system. The Loranth has arrived outside of the asteroid field that was home to the Kantaros station, but they do not know its location within the asteroid field. Chapter 23. Tesla's apprentice is Renefra Ren. Vader has told Tesla that he is leaving for Imperial Center because of information he received from Black Sun, the distraction Scissor promised Jax, saying there was a threat of an attack against the Emperor. Tesla will be in charge of observing Yemen and asking only questions that come up from observation. Jax has spotted Tesla's Force presence and location within the Force, knowing where the station is. Chapter 24. The Loranth watched the station. When it saw multiple ships emerge, it left its viewing point and headed to the edge of the asteroid belt. Den and I-5 think they are headed to Concordia, but Jax has other plans. Chapter 25. Sal is watching over Whiplash preparations to assassinate Palpatine. He is very confident. Tesla has started observing Yemen. Chapter 26. Jax is going to meet with Black Sun again. Den and I-5 would rather recruit the Rangers. Scissor agreed to help Jax get on board the station, also informing him that Vader has returned to Imperial Center. Tesla has spoken very briefly with Yemen. Chapter 27. Shield has updated House. He wants to warn Sal that more Imperial forces and Inquisitors have been secretly shifted to guarding the Emperor. House warned Sal and he did not care at all. Ash made a deal with Captain Dathomiri Karan, selling items through her to Black Sun. He also let it slip that he believed Palpatine would be out of the picture very soon. The Palpatine assassination attempt will be in 3 days. Chapter 28. Karen told Fabris, who told Scissor, that there actually is a plot to kill the Emperor. Jax was going to join 3 Black Sun ships to the Kantaro station, but as they were about to take off, Scissor pulled the plug on the operation. Scissor revealed that Black Sun could not help free Yemen at the same time Whiplash was attempting an attack against Palpatine. Jax had to fight his way out and hoped he had not killed anyone when he blew up a window and wall to escape the Black Sun building. Jax returned to the Loranth in a rush, saying they would head for Taparawa. He then went into his room and exploded in a yell of rage, wrecking his low amount of possessions, including the tree that Loranth had given him before she died. Part 3, Journey's End. Chapter 29. House attempted a sting to derail Sal's operation, but the police were caught in a trap he laid. Shield had helped in the attempted sting. House went to the Emperor's shoreline villa, finding fire and many dead bodies on the ground, including what he thinks is Sal. Vader was patrolling the shore with some stormtroopers. Chapter 30. The Loranth arrived at Taparawa, and Deegan got a call from House that Whiplash was essentially wiped out. When everyone went to bed, Jax took off in a refurbished Jedi starfighter. Chapter 31. House found the rest of the train and was confronted by Sal, who had not actually joined the attack, just watched everyone he sent in die. House's lieutenant had followed him and was going to kill him and report it. Sal got in the way of the shot and killed the lieutenant, leaving House alone on the train, and him and Shield now in charge of the scraps left behind of Whiplash. Chapter 32. Jax returned to Kantaro station, but just watched again. Then he made a course for Dathomiri. Chapter 33. Tesla told Yemen that an organization on Imperial Center made an attempt on Palpatine's life, and the whole organization is in shatters. Chapter 34. Jax has arrived at Dathomiri to meet the Singing Mountain clan. He was originally greeted by Duala Idu and Magash Drashi, who brought Jax to their clan mother, Ogwyn Jo. Magash has decided to get a closer look at Jax's starfighter while he is talking with Jo. Chapter 35. Sasha and I-5 tell Den that Jax left overnight. They are going to continue the plan, Sasha replacing Jax, and they will have other ships as backup. Chapter 36. Magash felt something evil when she touched the starfighter. Jo gave Jax permission to explore an abandoned temple in their territory. Magash will be his guide. Jax went to the ship to retrieve the holocron. Magash touched the starfighter again, knowing whatever darkness had been there was gone. When she confronted Jax, he claimed to not know what she was talking about. Chapter 37. Sasha found the Sith lightsaber in Jax's room when she came aboard. Den and I-5 described how Jax came into possession of the Sith blade. House and Shield have begun downloading the data from a train car and found an encrypted message Sal had sent to Vader exposing where Jax would be moving Yemen through. This confirmed the biggest security measure, and the 2 largest anti-assassination members of Whiplash were all off the planet at the same time. And confirms that House is actually a good person. Finally, in Chapter 37 of Book 4, Tesla told Yemen that Loranth, Jax, and Den were dead. Yemen revealed that he believed Jax had survived, which did not make Tesla very happy, but he thought he could use that as a weakness in Yemen's mental stability. Chapter 38. Jax and Magash talk about their Force beliefs on their way to the temple. Jax split off from Magash and found the interior of the Star Temple, saw 2 versions of the past, one where Loranth survived and the version that actually happened. He went on his knees, cutting his hand on the rock. The blood and presence of the dark side opened the Sith holocron, which he dropped immediately. The amount of blood he dropped only opened a little of the holocron. He realized that a life would likely need to be sacrificed to acquire enough blood to open it all the way. The Sith hope of ensuring no Jedi would be able to utilize the Sith research. As he came upon this realization, Nagash returned to him. Chapter 39. Sasha played with the Sith blade and only I-5 heard it, but she ignored that comment. House called the Loranth, letting them know Sal was the one that betrayed them. Chapter 40. Jax, Nagash, Duala, and Joe worked together to open the holocron using blood from all four of them. The information then fed into Jax through the Force, falling unconscious. Chapter 41. The Loranth with Sasha, Den, and I-5 arrived on Kantaros Station, posing as Black Sun. Chapter 42. Jax studies the details of the holocron, including time manipulation and tunneling the Force on a single person. Jax revealed what he has learned to Joe and Nagash. If he survives his rescue attempt, Jax would like the witches to wipe his memories of the holocron data from his mind so he or no one else uses the knowledge for bad. Jax also wants to leave the holocron with the witches. Jax is trying to put the pieces together of pyronium, time manipulation, and force projection. Chapter 43. Sasha, Den, and I-5 have started exploring the civilian side of the station, observing the comings and goings of the entrance to the Imperial side of the station. Jax is on his way to Kantaros Station. During their observations, Sasha and I-5 noticed R2 units were able to travel into the Imperial section without dealing with security. I-5 entered the Imperial section in an R2 unit. He explored the area, finding the detention area and taking note of all security installations. On his return to the ship, he passed stormtroopers, Tesla, and Darth Vader. Chapter 44. Tesla updated Vader on all that he had learned while he was gone. They are going to prepare Yemen for surgery to separate his two brains. Vader did force push Tesla into the wall for either disobeying his order but solving it, or for mentioning Jax. Chapter 45. Jax has snuck onto Kantaros Station. I-5 saw Yemen being moved to the medbay for an undisclosed neurosurgery. Sasha and Den also move into the Imperial section. Sasha has now put on a stormtrooper outfit, uniform, pretending Den is her prisoner. Chapter 46. It seems like Jax is recentered within himself after his visit to Dathomir. Jax knocked out Tesla's apprentice while disguised as an Imperial officer. He took one of his robes hanging up. He sensed the purpose of the surgery, separating Yemen's brains. Den, Sasha, and I-5 see Jax's force-projected distraction that set off the alarms. Chapter 47. Den, Sasha, I-5, Jax, and Tesla converged at the same point. Tesla disarmed Jax, but was struck down by a Sith lightsaber. Chapter 48. Sasha had been the one to kill Tesla with the Sith lightsaber. Jax, Den, Sasha, and I-5 have gotten Yemen onto a gurney and are starting to move him. Jax is split off with the group, hoping they can get off the station with Yemen. Yemen dons the Inquisitor robe Jax had been wearing. Sasha, Den, Yemen, and I-5 return to the Loranth. I-5 sneaks out once they return. Chapter 49. Jax has made the decision to try and save the Jedi starfighter rather than try and confront Vader. Jax was then confronted by two stormtroopers, an Inquisitor, and their apprentice. Jax disarmed the stormtroopers and apprentice, then force-projected Vader coming around the hallway, stopping the Inquisitor from attacking. Jax got away and was then confronted by Vader. Jax used a force projection of Yemen to briefly distract Vader, but he now knows Jax is also projecting another distraction and using pyronium as help. Vader has also realized that Jax has taken knowledge from Ramaj's holocron. Jax continuously calls Vader Anakin during their fight. I-5 was able to start an explosion in the docking bay, separating Jax and Vader. Jax and I-5 got out of the station and rendezvoused with the Loranth, and the Jedi starfighter was exploded. Epilogue. The Loranth visited Dathomir. Joe wiped Jax's memory of Ramaj's holocron. Joe also worked on Yemen's mind to mend it from Tesla's force attacks on his mind. Jax is restored and looking to his future with hope and that of the Jedi Order. That is it for The Last Jedi. I believe that is it for the story of Jax Bavan, but I could be wrong. There might be something in the future of Legends books that continues this storyline. He survived, so I wouldn't be surprised, but this does also feel like a resolution. I don't know where this story would go from here, but there are plenty of ways that a Legends story could keep expanding, especially with the main core 3 characters still alive. Let me know your thoughts on The Last Jedi in the comments down below. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.